When you're somebody who does daily videos, there comes a point where you end up having to revisit old ground, especially as time goes on. I never want somebody to watch a video of mine from a year or two ago and be like, wow, this guy's a fucking idiot. I mean, they'll do that anyway, but I always want to try to have some stuff updated. That's why I did the more recent ranked video as an update to my older ranked video. And now I'm doing an update to two of my older videos, which was the how to fix solo queue. Now that video was done in two parts, mostly because I wanted to milk more content out of the subject, but also because there was two massive discussions going on. Is solo queue even fixable? And then how do we fix it? Now, back then when I did those two videos, I was still newer to the game. I think I was still under 1,000 hours, or I might have hit 1,000 hours. I don't remember. But not only that, I also hadn't played a shitload of solo queue up to that point. And so after playing so much solo queue that it almost caused me to quit the game right before I took a massive break from the game, I thought I would come back in and talk about all of those, talk about both of those videos basically in one, and from not a new perspective, but a more experienced perspective. So let's start with solo queue as a concept, not necessarily in Dead by Daylight. Let's just start with solo queue as a concept. Solo queue is always going to suck. Regardless of what we talk about in this video, regardless of how we try to fix it, solo queue is always going to be ass. And the reason for that is not because of a lack of communication, not because of a lack of information, not because of anything like that. It is because when you load in, every single motherfucker in that match on your team has a different idea of how the game is supposed to be played. Every single one of those people have a different concept of timing, a different concept of how to loop, a different concept of even what's fun for them. Each and every one of those people has a different idea of who should be going for the unhook, or who should be working on a gen, or which gen should be working on. Should you double up on gen? Should you triple up on gens? Should you spread your pressure? Now, obviously, there's a difference between a personal viewpoint and the objectively best, most optimal way to play the game, right? Splitting up on gens is 99.9% of the time going to be better for you than doubling up or tripling up, right? Generally, the person that needs to go for the save is the one who is closest, not injured, and has the least amount of hook states. Or, alternatively, the person who has the least amount of progress on a gen. The gens you should be working on, objectively speaking, should be every other gen. You should not work on a gen and then work on the immediate next gen you find. You should always skip that one to avoid yourself getting 3 gen. Things like that. But just because something is objectively more optimal does not mean that everyone is going to hold that same viewpoint. There's a difference between experiences and skill level and, I hate to say it, but intelligence. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you know what I mean. And then there's people who are just fucking around, or people who just want their archives done. Right now, I'm an archive hunter. Right now, all I care about is getting my archives done. And if I end up throwing the game for that, I am sorry. I am fucking sorry, okay? I apologize in advance. You can hate me, block me, curse me out, whatever the fuck, right? I get it. You're mad at me because I didn't do the things that are most optimal, but god damn it, I just want every single one of those compendiums to be golden, okay? So if I need to stun or blind the killer 12 times, I'm running a stupid stun build, and I'm going to get the killer to chase me for the entire match if I can. And I'm going to force DS while I'm at it. So because of this, you're always going to have a bad time in solo queue. Because people are not always going to do what you think is best. And that's another thing a lot of people don't think about, is those 3 chuckle fucks on your team are not the only chuckle fucks in the game. You are also a chuckle fuck. You are also a jackass. You also have things that you do that don't make sense to other people. Even if you are going by the most, you watch fucking you watch 50 hours of Otsdarva videos, and you know every single loop like the back of your hand, and you know all the advice he's ever given. You're still going to do some stupid shit. Because either you don't remember what you were supposed to be doing, or you inherently disagree with what Ots said to do, or, and I know this is hard for some people, Ots might be wrong. Is it likely that he's wrong about how to play a loop or something? No. But he might be, and you're following bad advice. Because that happens with everyone. because we're fucking human. And because we're human, there are going to be mistakes that are going to be made. So when I talk in a little bit about fixing solo queue, everything I say is not going to solve the problem. It's going to solve some problems. It's going to help some people, but it is not going to solve the problem. You get what I'm saying? Because the solo queue problem is inherently something you cannot fix. No developer, no matter how talented, no matter what the game mechanics are, no matter how much coding, no matter how many features, no developer in this world can fix solo queue because it is an inherent problem with the way people like to play games. That being said, here are some things that I wish solo queue, or Survivor overall rather, would get. Now, before I get into this, real quick, actually, everything I'm going to talk about is in the interest of adding more information. And I want to make this perfectly clear. We can't add more information because it's going to just buff Swifts. Is not an argument. It's just not. Because, and I know this is going to shock you, Swifts already have the fucking information. It's kind of like in my accessibility video where I was like, hey, it'd be nice if I, as a deaf person, can get visual things so that I can do the exact same thing that people who are able to hear can do. And everybody was like, oh, but that is actually an unfair advantage. No, it's not. No, it's not. Everything I'm going to suggest is available to Swifts already. Sure, it might make it easier because they have to say less words, but they were doing the shit any fucking way. Okay? With that being said, let's talk about it. Number one, updates to the HUD. The HUD needs to show more shit. Almost everything, in my opinion. It needs to show when a survivor gets in a locker, and then the color of the locker icon needs to indicate what they are doing. If there's a bar around the locker, then they are using something like Built to Last or Inner Healing. If the locker is, say, yellow or blue or something like that, then that indicates that that survivor has head on. Sometimes I want them to highlight the locker that the person is in. I don't know if that's too far, but I'll let you guys discuss that in the comments. If a survivor is cleansing a totem, it needs to be red if it's a hex totem, stay white if it's a dull totem, and I need a progress bar. Tell me how far they are from cleansing that totem. Oh, and blue if they're booning it. If they're booning it, I want it to be blue. So blue if they're booning it, white if it's dull, and red if it's a hex totem. I also think that status effects of your fellow survivors need to show up. So if survivor gets hit with sloppy, then mangled and hemorrhage show up. If a survivor is, we already see broken, we already see endurance, but if a survivor is blinded, that needs to be known. If a survivor is incapacitated, that needs to be shown. What else? Chest opening, we should be able to see the progress of. The anti-hook, the anti-face camp bar needs to be shown on the HUD. That needs to be shown. It needs to be shown at the rate it's going up so that you know how close they are to getting off the hook by themselves. I think that gen speeds and healing speeds should be shown. First off, why do we not see healing progression? That's my question. Like when a survivor's healing another survivor, why do we not see a little bar like whenever a survivor is recovering as well? I also think that there should be a red bar for slower. So if the survivor is repairing a gen slowly, then their red bar should show up. And if a bar is yellow, or if a bar is green, sorry, then that means that the survivor is getting a speed boost. I think items should be shown next to survivors. So if a survivor is using a toolbox to repair a gen, you know that they're using a toolbox, things like that. In the pregame lobby, you should be able to see your fellow survivors' perk loadouts, and you should be able to see your fellow survivors' archives they currently have selected. I understand this will probably lead to some lobby dodging here and there, but I still think that it's incredibly important to be able to know what the fuck your fellow survivors are doing. The more information you as a player have, the better you can act. So again, these don't fix the solo queue problem, but they fix a lot of issues. They let you, the more information you have, the better. Now, there have been talks like things like a ping system, I don't know about that one. I do like the idea of a messaging system though, with like predetermined messages like "come here," "I need help," "take a hit," something like that. I think ping systems though might be a little bit much. I don't know. But yeah, that's everything I have for today. If you have any additional things you'd like to see solo queue have, leave them in the comments. What do you think about improving solo queue and about whether or not solo queue can even be improved? Let me know in the comments. And as always, a very big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, then get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.